Hi everyone, this is Miss Prisbilla and we're going to be solving quadratic equations from the JMAP 2A today. And this is the last topic we're going to cover in algebra this year. If you have been following the videos with the factoring, then this should be fairly easy. If you haven't, I strongly encourage you to go back and watch those factoring videos, because in order to solve a quadratic equation by factoring, which is very important, you need to know how to factor. There is another method that we're going to use to solve quadratic equations, and as long as they're set equal to 0, you could solve with this other method, and that's going to be in the next couple videos. But today we're going to be solving these with factoring. So if you see that I've already set this up with the last term on top, negative 15, and the middle term on bottom, which is negative 2. I got my two sides already, 3 and negative 5. When you multiply them together, you get the negative 15, and when you sum them, you get the negative 2. So I did set them up in my factors, and because this quadratic equation is equal to 0, and they must be in order to solve by factoring, and if it's not, you would just manipulate it to make sure that it is. So if the 15 was on the other side of the equal sign, you would just simply move it over and set it equal to 0. So because it's set equal to 0, and we have our two factors, and we have actually already done this in Module 1 when we already had the factors, and I told you at that point we were going to get to this point by the end of the school year where we're able to get those factors. But in Module 1 you actually had the factors. We set those equal to 0 to solve, and we did talk about this as well, that the factors have the opposite relationship with the solutions. And you have actually been, that should be a plus, you have been assessed on this fact. So again, once you have your factors, in this case x plus 3 times x minus 5 will multiply, those two binomials will multiply to give you that product of x squared minus 2x minus 15, which was the original problem. That's what we started out with, the product. We had to work backwards to get its factors. We used the easy diamond because a is equal to 1. We got those factors, set them equal to 0, and these are our solutions. If you were to take your calculator, you could put negative 3 in for x, store that, type so you take negative 3, store that in for x, you type in x squared minus 2x minus 15, and that would come out to be 0. So that's what should appear in your calculator, and the same thing is going to happen when you put a 5 in and store that in for x. If you were to put in x squared minus 2x minus 15 into a graph page, into f of x, what is going to happen is you're going to get a graph that is going to cross the x-axis at both negative 3 and positive 5. So that's not. So it would look something similar in your graph page to this. You're not going to see the y-intercept because it's negative 15. That would be off your page, but you will see the two x-intercepts, one being negative 3, the other being 5. This is the point when x is negative 3, y is 0. This is the point when x is 5 and y is 0. So because we have this quadratic set equal to 0, we are essentially finding the zeros, which we've talked about this in Module 1, and then again a bunch of times in cumulative reviews, because we were preparing for doing this at the end of the year. They are also called the roots. That's more of an older term. This is the one that they refer to most often. Currently, they're also called the solutions, and they're also called the x-intercepts. The x-intercepts is where the graph crosses the x-axis. So the checks, you could use store to store your two values in, put your quadratic expression in and make sure it equals 0, or you could also set it equal to 0 and get your true. Or you could put it into a graph page and locate your x-intercepts. So that's it. We'll do another problem in the next video, and then we're going to move on to a different method for solving quadratic.